We've got big plans for the small boat. We're learning as we go. So come along, we'll teach you stuff as we go building Windpuff.
Good evening. It's time for another session of trying to rebuild a boat with children. So my goals for tonight are to paint finishing resin on all the through holes that we covered over. That way they are then solid and done. And then also paint the entire bottom of the boat, all before dawn, because why be here during the day doing boat work? That sounds ridiculous. So we're doing all of this, that way we can get the boat splashed next week and then tow it up to Baltimore, where we don't have to drive hours and hours in tons of traffic just to get down here to work on the boat after the sun has set. So that's the goal. That way progress can actually happen, because you guys have been asking for a while, how's it going with Windpuff? And the answer is not much, because it's too far away to go work on. So we're going to bring it closer, that way we can get stuff done. We just spent all that time getting this boat ready to go in the water, but the stars are not aligning and it's not going to happen. So we're not going to get Windpuff in the water before winter hits, which means I got to make a giant hole in this boat. That way it won't sink over winter. So this is where the old engine through hole was, right here. So probably here looks good. There's a seacock on this thing somewhere. Well, here we go. Okay, Windpuff is going to be on the hard for one more winter. So while it's winter, I got some projects I want to get banged out. So the first thing we're going to do now is the Bulwarks. We have the transom extension added on, so now we need to get the Bulwarks put on. After the Bulwarks are on, then we're going to take the engine out. And then last, if we have time before we move the boat out of here, is take down the mast. So on the other side, when I had to take the jib track off, I took a drill and I drilled out the head of every single individual screw head. And there are a lot of them. So this did two things. One, it took forever and it destroyed all the drill bits that I had. So they're all gone. Now, we have to do the same process on the other side with the other jib track. And instead of repeating a stupid method of doing it, I decided to do it what I think would be a smarter way to do it. And that is to take a cutoff wheel and just chop the bolts off right under the jib track, right through the wood. We got the bulwarks all put on. They're just bolted on. They're not glued on. So eventually they're going to be part of the hull and fiberglass and all that business, but it's just way too cold to do that at this time of year. So we need to wait till spring. So in the meantime, they're on with screws because that's what we could use. So I attached metal strong ties to the hull, and these guys, what they do is they continue the shear of the boat up. So it really just gives me a scaffold. That way the bulwarks follow the curve of the hull and just it becomes a continuation of the hull. So it's not like something weird that we just stuck on. It's gonna flow with the boat and with the line. So when we get it all glassed in and then faired up and everything, it'll look like it was part of the boat originally. Except that people know Allbergs, so they'll know that it's not original. But that's besides the point. The point is, it's going to make it continue with the boat. Now back here, we're gonna do some changes. So you can see that in order to be fair, it has to be out past the side of the hull. So what we're gonna do is we're actually going to make this part wider. We're gonna fill in all of that void and then fair it up so that way it all blends together. Now that's gonna do a couple things. Most importantly, it's gonna give us a lot more surface area to grab on with, so that way it's a better attachment, it's a better junction between them. When we were making the pattern, I actually asked Warren, the guy that was helping me with everything, because he knows fiberglass a lot better than I do. Like, he's a professional fiberglasser. I'm a guy that likes to work on his own boat. So he told me you can do that when we're making the mold and the pattern and all that, but it's going to be so much harder to attach it as opposed to make something that's close and then fair it, because being how this is my first time, there's gonna be a lot of fairing involved. So pretty much just accept that I'm going to be fairing a lot and just make it and then address it after the fact. So you might be wondering, why even have bulwarks in the first place? Like on Wisdom, we have just a tiny tow rail and we sailed just fine. But the truth is, I really wanted bulwarks. So when you're out in a storm, you're on the high side of the deck and you know, everything's fine. You're hanging out on the windward side. There's lots to walk on. Everything is comfortable. As comfortable as it could be. But there's times when you have to go to the leeward side and then you have a tiny tow rail that you're trying to balance on, watching these giant waves just rush by, and it is horrible and miserable, and I did not enjoy that part. So the idea of having bulwarks is to give me something to walk on when the boat is heeled over really, really, really far. So that's why we're going 6 inches-ish, somewhere in that range. That way I'll have a 6-inch platform to walk on. That way I can put my feet on something that's a little more solid than a tiny little tow rail that sticks up just a smidge. So that concludes our mounting of the bulwarks. They are on with screws. Once it gets warm, then we can fiberglass them and keep working on all the fiberglass stuff that we need to do, because there's a lot of it.
Thanks for watching this episode of Sailing Wisdom. Don't forget to like the video, share it with your friends, and hit subscribe so you don't miss the next Rigging Doctor episode. And if you're interested in even more Rigging Doctor awesomeness, consider becoming a patron to see all of our extras. Can't wait to see you next time as you join us out here on the high seas.